Hey guys, Mark from Gunpla Network here, and I'm back with another review, this time the real grade 02 in the line MS06S Zaku to the Char's custom version. So this was the second in the real grade line, and I've built around half a dozen so far real grades, newer ones, and a couple of the middle of the range, like 5, 6, 7, I think. And yeah, like, to be honest with you, this one holds up really well. It doesn't show its age as badly as you'd think for, you know, being an older second in the real grade line. I've got the original around here too. I'll get built sometime this year. And yeah, it's actually very reminiscent. If you hadn't built this one, but you, like me, you'd built the Johnny Ridden Zaku, the MS06R Zaku 2, then it feels very, very familiar when you're building that. Let me just stop that for you. Overall look, I've given the kit a 9 out of 10. It is very detailed, very part separated. Where you see a pink or a salmony, sort of we've got 3 different kind of colors going on. So you can see you'll have a lighter salmon pink, then a darker salmon pink, and then the Char's red, we'll call it, because I don't know actually the color it is. So these are all, when you see those, all individual parts that you put on, which is what the real grade line is known for. It's high degree of part separation and color separation. So it's actually really good. Now, if like me, you want to paint this in a custom color scheme, that makes it very easy to paint when all these pieces are all individual parts. That means you can get that color separation without the degree of difficulty and masking that you would with a high grade. So overall look, I've given it a 9 out of 10 because I think the proportions are good, the color separation is good. It's a really, really nice kit for an 8-year-old kit, a 9-year-old kit now, sorry, we've just crossed into 2019. Build process. Like any real grade, you'll follow the book, and I'm just gonna bring this down. Starts with you know, parts of the feet usually, and that's pretty basic. You build the frame up with the parts around it. You can, if you want to, I've done it before, build just the frame and then, you know, paint that and then start back and adding all the parts to it as you go. Not too hard. Yeah, so with the build process, you basically build the entire frame up around it. The armor goes on top and it's all kind of layered. If you were to lay this out, there's probably like 100 plus parts with the frame standing on its own, and then all the little bits. You'll notice on mine that I haven't completed the this side of the leg, so I actually snapped a piece when I was building mine. My fault, I pushed on the adapter piece too hard for the hoses that goes into the leg, and I snapped it, so that's sitting there with glue on it at the moment. Not too hard to fix, just painful. So yeah, the build process was, I find if you're a person who enjoys process and order and a logical build, definitely you'll enjoy these. Nub removal, everything like that wasn't too bad. It was pretty good. There's some undergating, so yeah, it's not too bad for most things. Just on the corner of the shield there, I can see one that I didn't clean up properly. That's on the outside, so no biggie. So yeah, the build process gets an 8 out of 10. Articulation and posing. Now, this is where I struggled, and like most, I didn't believe most people when they said, looks great, it's a pain in the ass to pose, so you'll leave it in one spot. Now, I think that could be said of most real grades. If you kind of build it, you'll pose it and leave it in your cabinet. It's not really something you play with. It's got great articulation, as you'll see from like a first look video where I had a kneeling pose. It can do it. It was just very painful to get it there. So yeah, it's okay. It just depends on your level of patience. You just got to take a deep breath and don't force things, because you will snap something. In terms of the articulation, the head, this is my second Zaku and they all do that. The head does not actually seem to lock in properly. It has that really cool gimmick. Now this might be hard to see. I'll just bring it forward because I haven't put the sticker on mine because I am going to paint. So there is the mono eye piece in there, which is a little circular clear piece. You will turn And because there's movement in the neck there, it will turn with the eye, turns with the head instead of just staying looking forward. So it gives that degree of realism, which the real grades are known for. So the head cannot go the whole way around. It will stop because it has that joint and motion in there. But that's not too bad. So it's just this will come off a lot. So you wouldn't be able to pose this thing upside down without dropping a bit of glue in there or some, blue tack or something like that. So this will fall off. So I'm going to pop it off there. The arms. So the arms will come out a bit. They can go like this to make that pose where you can block forward with the shoulder shield and stuff, or the spike ball. It can go back, and they come out about that far from the body on the joint. The shoulder shield, spike shield, has some movement in it, and it will pop off at a moment's notice because it's just held in via a peg to that piece there. And that side skirt is actually more annoying than the front skirt. This one has fallen off 99 times. I will be dropping just a dab of glue on that to hold that mofo in place. Okay, sorry about that. We're back now. I've reattached all the pieces that were, fally offy, I guess we'll call them. They do like to fall a bit. So there is limited movement in that spiked shoulder piece. It's basically on the same type of bracket, mirrored it on that one. This one will give you a little more movement because of the shield, so you can get a little degree of movement out of that, but still just on a peg into a ball joint type polycap. So yeah, nothing crazy out of that. The arms will go obviously, and there we go, that's come off. Will go all the way around, come out, that sort of thing. So you can get a good arm raise out, but obviously the shield will hit about there. Same with this, that'll hit there, so you can't go too high with it without popping it off. You can then, in the arms, there is a good amount of panel separation there. It's actually popped off a little. So there it closed. When you open up the arm, that slides down, elbow opens up a bit, and that's what's great about these real grades. You do get some kind of actual movement in the armor. It's really good. You can get a little movement in the waist joint, not too far. You will pop off these side skirts. They do have a little degree of movement in them, but not too much. The front skirt can go all the way up, and they are fully separated, but will pop off if you force them too far. They're actually just held in on a little hole there in the crotch cover area. So like I said, guys, great articulation, but painful to pose, because once you try posing it, it will just start coming apart in your hands. The backpack actually has some movement in it, so the thruster bells are on a polycap joint in there, so you can, move them up, move them down, have them at different angles. And then the back skirt actually has a little movement in it as well, so, and separate pieces. This cover will come, let's grab my knife to help me, will come down, and that there is to store the bazooka on, as you would have seen. There's a rail on that slides and locks onto. Otherwise you have the peg hole covers for the axe to go into. Now, the legs will show you the real grade hands. If you're not familiar with them at all and you're thinking about your first real grade, the real grade hand is the 1/144 version of a master grade kind of hand, I guess. So you have an actual hand with a 1, 1, and 3 together. Now there is a little movement, so you can make a fist, you can grip weapons. There's a tab that slides into the hand inside there. You can then also, close the hand up, close the thumb up around that. You can do some minor pointing, make a trigger hand out of it, do the, I was trying to make the come here signal with the finger, like I'm going to attack you. And that's about it there. So onto the legs. The great amount of armor separation they've gone to on these legs. Now remember I said don't force, and it will take you a few goes of going back and forth. See that? So the armour and the frame there is all popped up to reveal this is a spring, not a plastic piece inside there. So you got to be careful when you're putting these in, because if that comes off and it's fully loaded with parts and the spring flicks, you could have a room full of those spending hours trying to find these little pieces. They're all individual hosing pieces. So yeah, you get great detail separation there. The leg comes all the way up and then it will go all the way back down carefully when you close it again. So that's great. I mean, it's just really good. On the legs, you do have some that cover slides. The foot toe pieces can all kind of move. It is 3 pieces there, so there's great degrees of movement in the real grade. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get great panel and color separation, armor separation on the legs and somewhat on the arms, to give you a look, you know, that sometimes you have to scribe or cut out and do magnets with, but you just get that on the real grade. I'm just trying to reattach that part. There we go. You can almost do the splits, but the armor will get in the way there. So that's one of the things people hate too about these kits, is all of the piping. The runner it comes on is fairly easy, and in the instruction guide it tells you to just insert the piece through, cut. But if you want to clean each piece individually, obviously you got to do that, take it off. So I'll be taking these off in reverse order and sanding each of the little pieces back. So articulation and posing got a 7 out of 10 after that long one. Sorry guys. Accessories, I gave it an 8 out of 10 because it does come with a couple of good accessories. Obviously the sticker sheet that you get for real grades. Now I didn't use any of that because I've got some water slide decals for this, or decals for this. And I'll just paint in metallic pieces on the frame. That's not too hard for me. So otherwise, from what I've seen, and this looks like an almost identical sheet that I used on my Johnny Ridden Zaku, if you were to use those, just put some kind of flat coat over the top to hold them down. Otherwise they could come off in the future just sitting on there. That's what I've heard. So these are really good. So for non-water slides, you will notice them on a dark color like this. If it was a white Zaku, you probably wouldn't notice as much the stickers, because the lighter background gives less kind of notice of the excess clear edges on them. You get the Zaku standard 100mm machine gun. It comes with a detailed ammo drum. You also get some movement. There's meant to be a clear piece with a sticker in the end there. I haven't put one in because I didn't want to have to eject it out when painting. That will go all the way like around. You get your hand grip, and there's just like a lot of really good detail in this gun. And inside, if you actually, I don't know anyone's ever displayed it like that, but if you were to pop the cover off this ammo drum, it's actually like what looks like bullets in there too. So you get the Heat Hawk in either an active or a so you can see the machine gun has the same system that this does. Inside the handle you can force a tab out to grip into the hand, same as this does. That's the deactive mode, and there's the blade to activate it, which you can all paint separately, which is really nice touch. I've done that before. You can paint it silver, orange, you know, anything you want. You also get the standard bazooka, which this will move, you know, all the way to the other side. You get a handle which pops up to there, and then I've missed my pieces in here somewhere in the box. I put it back in the that's the tab. You get a Char figure, which is really nice about the real grades. I like since the beginning they've all came with and that's going to be really hard to see, but that's a little Char figurine in red there. I think when I paint my kit up, I probably won't use Char. I'll save him for something else. Might get a HG Gelgoog or something to put him in. You get 2 more hands, which are the closed fists. And the little tab that you can put in the side or the back skirt to hold the axe onto. So for accessories, 8 out of 10. Fun factor, this was a pretty fun kit to build. Obviously, it detracts a bit when you try and pose it and stuff like that. I really think it needs an action base or a stand to go onto to hold it in place. So like the Johnny Ridden Zaku I've got, I'll definitely be putting it in a flight pose with a stand, I think. So that's a 7 out of 10. It could have been an 8 or a 9. It was a fun build, but just painful to pose. So final score, 7.8 out of 10. So that's pretty good. Most real grades are over a 7. I haven't come across one yet that was frustrating enough to score below a 7.5. Alright guys, thanks for joining me for this review, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye.